Thank you. Roll call. Mr. Toth.
Okay. Mr. Schneider.
Here.
Ms. Madiger. Mr. Shi.
Here.
Ms. Peng.
Here.
Ms. White.
Here.
Mr. Mohin Patel.
Present.
Mr. Baral Patel.
Here.
Mr. Rivera.
Present.
Dr. Haydock.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Stealing my line there, buddy.
Thank you. Opening statement. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Edison Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Board of Education administrative offices. Copies of these notices were sent to the Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger on January 4th and October 4th of 2022. The public may participate at regular meetings in accordance with the bylaws and the applicable state regulations. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody for being here. Anybody watching at home, on TV, or on YouTube, thank you for doing that. Tonight's our caucus meeting, and it also signifies a milestone, I assume, in Dr. Aldarelli's career, which is his first board meeting as our acting superintendent. So before I turn it over to Dr. Aldarelli to go over all of the formalities that we need to address in this meeting, I think it's important to say welcome here. And I can personally say as board president that it's been a pleasure already for the first, 10 days to work with you, or however many days it's been. I guess you've been working the weekends too, because there's been a lot of things to discuss. But really, thank you for your efforts so far, and we look forward, I'm sure, to working with you in the future. So without further ado, Dr. Aldarelli, you have the floor.
Great, thank you very much, Mr. Board President. I am honored and privileged to serve the district in this capacity. I look forward to participating in driving conversations that focus on the teaching and learning process. I'm really humbled to be working with such a talented staff and my colleagues. Together, I think with all of our teachers, our support staff, everybody that contributes to the operation of this organization, including the parents, we can do the work that's at hand, right? Which is to maximize student achievement and the potential for all of our students here in Edison Township. So I do thank you for the opportunity and looking forward to working with everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Aldarelli. Doc, I usually call you, so maybe I'll say Doc. Thank you, Doc. On our agenda here, we have a public hearing regarding our violence and vandalism report. So if you want to start with that, that'd be great.
Sure. Our violence and vandalism report summary is something that we are required to report out on at a public hearing twice a year. For this reporting period, it is January 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2022. We've increased our efforts to mitigate the events listed in here. We've employed guidance counselors, additional guidance counselors. We have a robust partnership with Rutgers Behavioral, our PATH counselors, as well as our ESS workers, our outstanding clinicians, and they work side by side and hand in hand with the people that are on the front lines, which are our teachers, our administrators, our supervisors, and our support staff, right? Here to educate our students. The total number of incidents in this report are statistically lower than the last reporting period, which is good, and ideally, that's the objective, is to reduce the number of incidents.
Very good. Any public comments on the violence and vandalism report only? Mr. Fagan?
Thank you, Board President. Nick Fagan, 42 Edgewood Circle, Edison. I haven't had a chance to review the report, but in terms of violence, about 2 months ago, there were a series of students women students that came up and gave us heartfelt testimony of their personal experience with sexual violence in the schools. And I would like to hear from the new superintendent. We had commitments from the previous superintendent that we were going to make this right and fix it. It's been 2 months since then, so I would like to hear what actions have been taken to make that situation and those situations right, and the investigations that are going on to address whatever's going on, because it didn't sound like what was going on was right. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fagan. I don't know if it falls into this category. You could choose to address it now, or if you want to talk later about it, or choose not to address it. But I think we should be proud of what we've been doing. So you've been
Yeah,
intimately involved. Go ahead.
Absolutely. And I totally understand what you're saying, Mr. Fagan. So immediately after that meeting, we can, without getting into specifics of those pieces, all of those cases were reinvestigated, to affirm that proper protocols and procedures were followed at that time. We also made a commitment to hearing the voices, right, of the students, throughout both high schools, led by Dr. Tui, organized a committee at that time frame. And in consultation with our board attorney, we wanted to make sure that all of our reporting mechanisms were easily accessible to our students, so that in the event that these incidents do transpire, that we are not only responsive, but we're making sure that we're following the letter of the law and providing them with the necessary support that they need. Probably a deeper conversation, which I'd have no problem talking with you about at a later date, but I understand and can assure you that we are on top of that.
There's two things I'd like you to just mention as well. The training for the staff. What'd you do with training?
Yeah, absolutely. Immediately upon that, we were provided the opportunity to dive into specific training with our leadership team to go over the specific aspects of harassment, how that's reported, mechanisms for doing it, follow through, as well as developing regulations along with a document that's available for reporting to anybody and located on our district website as well.
And lastly, the involvement of a third party, which was our Judge Bass.
Yeah. So Judge Bass, who maybe Mr. Rubin could speak to her credentials a little bit better than I could, but an expert in Title IX, and has really been the guiding force in our practice with our leadership team, which encompasses not only the people sitting in the audience here, but also the individuals at the building level with our administrators and our guidance counselors and anybody that's involved in providing that type of support to students.
Thank you. Would you like to talk about Judge Bass, just so the public knows?
Sure. Thank you. After that meeting that the gentleman spoke of, we put together a training program. One of the most recent additions to our law firm is the recently retired Chief Administrative Law Judge of the New Jersey Office of Administrative Law, Ellen Bass, who, until past June, actually not only sat on hearings involving bullying, harassment, and intimidation from school districts, but supervised all the other judges who did. She's now a member of our firm. She has expertise in this area. She has, even though she has a background before going on the bench as a school board lawyer, she's universally regarded in the education bar on all sides of the aisle as being objective, thorough, even-minded, and we were able to enlist her assistance in coming in and putting together a training program for our administrative staff. Seems to have been well received, and so we have that addition to our force here to bring everything up to speed.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Fagan.
Thank you.
Dr.
President?
Yes.
Quick question. In
Mr.
regards
Patel.
to, in regards to the judge, did we look into other judges to see if there was more robust judges in terms of the specifics that we were looking for, besides the law firm that you represent and the judge from your law firm?
No,
Thank you.
couldn't do better.
Resolutions, board discussion. Well, first, Dr. Aldarelli, if you can read
sure.
off the resolutions that we'll be voting on Tuesday.
Great, I'll begin with our administrator's report. First on the list is our recognition of the outgoing Board of Education members. These resolutions will be formally read at Tuesday's action meeting, but at this time, I'd like to personally thank both of those members for their service to Edison Township and their community. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I look forward to your participation in future events. The next is the appointment of the representative to the Educational Services Commission, replacing our former superintendent, Dr. Bragan. The third is the approval of policies related to technology and acceptable use that reflect our current practice. Moving along, we have our curriculum and instruction reports. We have approval of field trips for our concert choir and our Model UN at J.P. Stevens High School. And we also have, under curriculum instruction, the documentation and the report for professional development. Lastly, we have our pupil services report, which begins with our out-of-district placements for our special needs population and concludes with professional services resolution. And that concludes my portion.
Thank you, Dr. Aldarelli. Mr. Toth?
Yes. For finance resolutions, we have the approval of our monthly financials report. This is standard every month. So it'll be our bills list, which is for our warrants accounts, voided checks, monthly transfer report, board secretary's report, purchase order report, so on and so forth. Item 2, we're accepting a grant. Item 3 is also the acceptance of a grant from the SDA for emergent needs. Item 4 is the acceptance of a bid. I'm sorry, not the acceptance of a bid, but the rejection of a bid due to reclarification of specifications. Item 5 is a bid renewal. Item 6 is a revised Chapter 192, additional state aid for non-public schools. Item 7, we have a change order at the Lincoln Elementary School project. Item 8 is additional non-public school security aid. Item 9 is also non-public technology initiative program aid. Item 10 is for the obsolete items. And item 11 is the transportation report.
Thank you, Mr. Toth. Board members, do you have any questions on any of those resolutions?
Yes, so,
Mr. Patel, Mr. Biro Patel.
so Mr. Toth, Pravco, did we rebid this or what changed here? For the roof, for bid renewal for the
The
roof?
change order?
Yes.
Okay, so the change order, there's multiple parts, there's multiple PCOs to this change order. So the change order totals $90,000. Part of it is for $15,000 for core drill connecting and downspouts and backfilling, additional demolition of an existing classroom casework, water sewage line as per PAL Pro, additional demo in the classrooms. This is backdated from October. The installation of framing and a complete roof, temporary switchgear and additional strobe and speakers per the fire inspector's request, a life station transformer modification, and additional exterior signage.
What about this roof company, Pravco? It says they renew their contract. Did we rebid?
Well, that's correct. That was a bid that was done, I believe, last year.
Okay.
So we are going to use them again for a one-year renewal in order to do like generalized maintenance work on our roof should we need.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Shi?
Yeah, just some minor things about the minutes for the December 22nd meeting. If you read the minutes and you look at the personnel section, item number 17 is on the agenda as a standard item, but if I remember, that was added at the meeting, so I'd like the minute to reflect what's happened. It was add on to the meeting at the last minute. But if you look at the minutes right now, it's not reflecting that. If you look at personnel item number 17, that's on there, but there's nothing said that it was added on, there was a roll call.
Are you talking about minutes from the November meeting?
Correct.
So the one that we have printed out here for us?
Correct.
November 22nd.
All right, so that's November 17th I have here.
It's
my hand.
the
22nd,
the 22nd meeting, or the 20th, whatever the Tuesday meeting. It did not reflect what actually happened, so.
Could you clarify what's different?
If you look at the item, it's number 17 is part of the personnel agenda item, but that item was not on the original personnel agenda, it was added at the last minute.
Do you have it handy? I mean, this is a board secretary question, I assume?
Yes,
Yeah.
Do you know how to clarify that?
Yeah, we'll make the correction, and it'll be noted for the formalized action.
So when we
meeting.
vote on it on Tuesday,
Yes,
it'll
sir.
reflect the change. Okay.
Understood.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Shi?
That's it for the items.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other resolution-oriented comments?
Well, actually, I do have a question, I forgot. So for the violence vendor report, it says period 2. What time is period 2?
Yes, period 2 is the beginning of January 1st, 2022, and ends June 30th, 2022. Period 1 was
Okay.
was
Right there.
was September to December of 2021.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
Board President, question.
Mr. Patel?
In regards to that report, do we have a breakdown as to what the different violences were and what schools?
I don't have it in
occurred
front
at?
of me, but I can definitely get that for you.
Thank you.
That's actually a very good question. That's what I was gonna ask. Just to break down, like I'm sure Kevin has to do as well. We have to do this report twice a year. So I'm curious, when we break down this report, we're actually supposed to provide programs and training as well. So I'm curious where their need would be for additional training and additional programs, if there's a specific issue at a specific school.
Absolutely. I'll make sure that information's available.
Any other resolution-based comments from the board? Okay, board members, open discussion? Anyone want to lead off?
You want to have elderly announce?
Oh, actually, yeah, Dr. Aldarelli. We have a special person here in the audience, and we're going to, I believe, recognize him in January. However, I think Dr. Aldarelli just wants to, because it's timely.
Yeah, it's actually come to my attention, and at the request, we'd like to recognize Sri Nahil Tamana, correct? A current eighth grade student at Woodrow Wilson Middle School, and while a student at Woodbrook Elementary School, I believe in 2019, founded Recycle My Battery, a nonprofit organization to spread awareness about why it's important to recycle batteries. And more recently, and most impressively, Nahil was the recipient of the CNN Heroes Young Wonders of 2022. It's a distinguished honor that's awarded each year to 2 or 3 young wonders from around the world who are making a significant impact to help the earth. So congratulations and a job well done.
Thank you so much.
Can you please stand
Absolutely.
up? So we have a camera, please. They come stand over here. So we have a camera shot of this young hero.
Okay. So I'm just gonna make this really quick. I just would like to say my thank yous to everybody. So I would just like to say a thank you to all of the Edison School people for inviting me over to talk here. A special thanks to Biral over there for inviting me over here to talk. So I would just like to thank the Edison School District for allowing me to place battery bins in all of the stores. A special thanks to the old superintendent, Bernard Brandon, for approaching me 3 years ago and allowing me to place the battery bins in all of the stores. A special thanks to all of the principals for allowing me to place battery bins in their stores and helping me out and educating all of the kids and families of the community of the stores. A special thank you to all of the people here for allowing me to educate more people. So I'm proud to say the Edison School District is the first battery-free school district here. Thanks to you guys, we have made this dream come true.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you to you. Thank you to you. And
Thank you so much,
I
yeah.
hope that you continue your education here in Edison and never leave, and you be a leader in this community forever and ever and ever.
I remember this day, 3 years ago, I came to my very first board meeting to talk to the superintendent, all of you guys. I came to talk to a few board members about my initiative so we can grow it. So I remember that day 3 years ago. So a
Oh.
special thank you to you, all of you guys, for supporting me from the very beginning.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Another round of applause. Beautiful. We do have a student recognition night, I believe, in January, which is such a cool night, and we have a lot of great things happening in Edison. I look forward to seeing you again in January. Board member comments. Mr. Shi,
Okay.
you could lead off.
So congratulations to Matt Yasko and Matt Fulhan. One is a quarterback, and the other is a coach of the year for our Edison High School football team. Congratulations to those two folks. And, just to echo what the CNN hero is, only 2 kids, 2 from the whole world, right? So thank you for making Edison proud, okay? Thank you, and continue to do all the good things that you've been doing. So I do have a question to Dr. Artorelli. So at the beginning, it's been going on for a couple of years. At the beginning of the year, we talked about the application for tracking the buses, called My Stop or something like that. So my understanding was all the transponders will put it on our own buses or at the end of September. And I still heard that the application itself is not working. So if you can provide some update to the next meeting as to how we're gonna solve that issue, especially when the winter comes, you don't want the kids to stay outside for a long time to wait for these buses to come. So if we can get some resolution on that at the next, some update at the next meeting, that'll be great.
Absolutely, Mr. Shin.
Okay. And there's also, I received emails from parents about the Gloria Street. The Gloria Street, if you go near the Woodrow Wilson, if you go over there, you will see half the side of the street has already been redone, and at the beginning of the year. So a lot of parents was hoping that will alleviate some of the traffic issues at Woodrow Wilson. If anyone knows, Woodrow Wilson's one way in, one way out. And so parents has not seen that's being open. So Mrs. White has received some updates from the our police department. So if you do not mind, give a couple quick update as to
For sure.
where it is, so
Okay.
the parents will know.
All right, the council passed the ordinance on November the 30th, okay? Now, just Monday, they awarded the bid. So, so we are making progress with this. This project is not easy in any way, but the township is moving forward on it. Dr. Adderelli and I were there along with Lisa Semino and I believe it's Sergeant Winters. I might have promoted him. But, but he was there too, and he was a very important part of this. The project is really massive, and it's going to take a bit of time to do it. And you know that the wheels of progress do move slowly at times, but they are moving. So I was very happy with the progress that was made. I think we're on target. I am hoping, everybody's wishing for spring, but I don't think that's going to happen then. I think it's probably going to be for the next school year, probably September. If it happens before, we'll all be happy. But if you think about this, the amount of work that has to be done there includes a lot of jackhammering. It's going to tear up the parking lots. It's going to reconfigure that whole parking area as well. I cannot see how they can do that while school is in session, while buses are coming in, while parents are dropping off kids, while the kids are coming to school. I just can't see how that would be a good time to do it. I think over the summer months probably would be better. As they they did a rough thing opening part of that street, but it's nowhere near ready to be used. They did put some blacktop down there, but it's just not ready. In addition to that, the people that reside on that street, they're hoping to give them residential parking, and I think it's probably going to involve them parking just on one side of the street, just so that they'll be able to, deal with the ebb and flow of traffic. I was told that they can't even really get emergency vehicles down in that area safely. And if you were ever to go there and look, you'll understand the minute you see it. But I do feel that the police department, I think the township, engineering, we made sure that it was on the agenda for Monday, and that's where it is. So now it just has to go through the next step. But I was happy with the progress, I really was. And, I think once it gets done, it's going to make life so much easier for the school and for the residents in that area. And I am also working on getting lighted crosswalks for, Plainfield Road. So I'm hoping that all of this comes together all at the same time, but, we all wish, from my lips to God's ears, I hope this will work, for them. So we'll keep an eye on it. It's not forgotten, and we do watch it, so I'm hoping that we move forward in a timely manner. So, but that's all I have for now, and I was happy with it. I hope you are too. So we'll see what happens. But while I'm here, while I'm talking, and he is a tough act to follow, I have to say that. You're incredible. But I did want to mention the music program. I've been going to concert after concert. I see Patrick there all the time at all of them. I went to the annual winter concert for choir at Edison High School, and then I went to the band concert at Edison High School as well. They were so, so good. J.P. Stevens did their holiday concert, their orchestra, and it was geared towards children. It was just beautiful. That was just, last night. And I also went to a middle school concert as well at Herbert Hoover. That was their choir. And that was, they just all worked so, so hard. But I have things to say about the different choirs, and especially the middle school program. They have that schedule, that short schedule. They're not able to meet as much as they should meet because of they had that cutback. And I'm going to discuss this, in closed session as well. And you have to keep in mind that these middle school programs feed the high school programs. Our high school programs are absolutely stellar. I mean, they're talk about making Edison proud. I mean, those bands and those choirs are just unbelievable. But it all comes from, elementary and then middle school. And then when they move forward, that's what makes the bands and the choirs so, so great. And, but, closed session, I have a little bit more to say, but I don't want to say it here. So, but that's it for me. Thank you for listening.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. White. The one thing I just want to add, based on our conversations throughout the week regarding your Woodrow Wilson project,
Yes.
is that the principal there, Jen Blevins, is heavily involved with
She
the
truly
conversations
is. She's wonderful.
as well, which I'm a big fan of getting whoever's there every day and who's seeing it with her own eyes. That's who should be heavily, weighed in terms of the opinion. So I'm glad to hear she was with you and she was kind of guiding the process there.
She was. She walked us through the whole thing from the entry all the way through back to the, back out again. She's very, very involved in it. And she's very happy that the board and the, the district is aware that there is such a severe problem there. But we are trying. I am happy with the town. I wish they'd move faster, but, we'll do our best. Squeaky wheel. So we'll see what happens.
Mr. Shi, did you have something else to add?
Yeah, so I just want the public to be aware that it's just not open up the streets and you can drive the car over. They could change the traffic pattern. There are 4 handicap spots needs to be removed, and not removed, need to be reallocated. And there will be concrete work that needs to be done, and the concrete work is being bidded, and it's getting council approval this week or next week. And we all know when you do the concrete work, when the weather is cold, you can't do it. So that's why another, delay for that. So I hope the parents understand that. And although you saw that the road was open up, but, we still cannot use it as of yet. Okay. So just to add on to, Mrs. White's comment about the concerts and the band, I went to the J.P. Stevens band, and yesterday I went to the J.P. Stevens Orchestra, and Dr. Already was there as well. When you go to these bands, you speak to the parents, and the kids, they sound very, the music is great, but the concern of the parents is what Mrs. White brought up, is this AB schedule. We changed the AB schedule to every semester, right? So this parent spoke to me that her one child is in the J.P. Stevens and her other child is in the middle school. And she has a band the second semester. And this semester, she has been pulled out of her math class. every time it's her math class. The teacher is not happy with that. The student is not happy when she got pulled out of this math class. She loves the band, the music, but to get practice, and she got pulled out. So this is something we need to look into it for the new board. I don't know what Mrs. White's going to say, but I'm going to say it very clearly that it was not a well thought decision, and I don't think it's good service to our students, and just based on the comments from the parents, and it will have impact to our feeding program. Our high school, J.P. Stephen Edison, the music program is probably one of the best in the nation, and we need to continue to support that program. Right. So I also have a comment about some procedural questions, and congratulations to Dr. Ardarelli for being sitting over there. I wasn't at the last meeting, so I couldn't make these comments. And my understanding is that his contract was approved by the county superintendent on December 2nd. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Yes. And in that contract, there is a slight change, which is he's going to keep his current contract as it is, and there will be a $4,200 monthly stipend. Is that correct? So I have no issue with the stipend. I think he deserves that. And, I have no issue with the dollar amount. My question is about the process. So I assume that contract was submitted to the county superintendent on behalf of the board. Is that correct, Mr. Rubin?
Yes.
Okay. So if that contract is submitted on behalf of the board, just process-wise or your legal opinion, should the board members aware about that specific change in the contract about the stipend? Because as far as I know, I'm not aware of it. Mrs. Mohim Patel is not aware?
Nope.
Mrs. White, is you aware of that? That will have an increase? I don't know about you, Brian. So my question is, where is that dollar amount coming from? And who on a board, gave authority for the law firm to submit that? It's just a process question.
Sure. And I'll respond on a process level. When a board authorizes a contract, when a board agrees on a candidate, we typically work in between meetings with board leadership, who is represented to us that whatever terms of that contract they represent to us, represent a board majority support for. It's assumed that board members are aware of what the contract is that is being submitted to the county superintendent, at least the essential terms of it. We work through board leadership. Board leadership for this purpose was the board vice president. She worked with my colleague Nick Celso of our office to submit that. If board members claim that they're unaware of that, that's probably something we should discuss in closed session. But the process is that we work through board leadership, who's supposed to represent to us what the consensus of the board majority is on what contract will be submitted. That's all I can say in public.
Okay, I just for the record, for the public, I can say majority of the board members not aware about the clause.
100%.
Again, I have no issue with the stipend. I have no issue with the dollar amount. Just a process. That's all.
Board President, just if I could add, with that logic flaw, basically, if you're saying that we gave authority to the leadership to act on our behalf, that is not right, first and foremost. Secondly, you could have put $1 million on that contract, and you could have said, okay, the board has approved it. I don't mind giving you $1 million if you're going to do the job. But the point is that we did not know about it. Majority of the board did not know about it. The leadership made a decision to do what they did. On what basis? And if that is done that way, then it's not right, because we're all here as a board member to make the decision on behalf of the public and the taxpayers.
I've described how the process is supposed to work. If that did not happen, that's something you might want to take up with your board.
Is that something that we can do, file an ethic violation for if we have to?
I'm not going to give you an opinion on who can file ethics complaints against anybody. You do as you please.
Thank you. That's all. Just a
Good.
process.
Mr. Biro Patel.
All right. So, Dr. Elderelli, I would like to start with you. Congratulations, and very nice to see you here sitting with us.
Thank you.
So, I'm sure you'll do a great job in this role. Matt and Matt, right, Jerry? Those are
Yes,
the names.
Matt and Matt.
Matt
Matt
and
and
Matt.
Matt, yes.
So they bring pride to Edison. That's this huge, wonderful achievement, and people were all excited when all these games were going on, and our teams were winning. So congratulations to all the teams and the captains and coach and everyone. Shri Nihal Tamanna. I mean, I was going to write down something about you, but there is nothing that you can write down that can match what you did. You brought a lot of pride to this district. When people will go to Rockefeller Center to see the tree, or New York City or somewhere this winter, when they ask our students, where do you go to school? They used to say like Woodbrook or Woodrow. Now they say, oh, I go to the school where the battery guy went, the CNN Young Hero went. Can you imagine? I mean, that's what's going to happen. People will be in California, the students will be in California. And you remember, I went to school in Edison. In those schools where the CNN Young Hero went, that's the type of the pride you bring to this district. So once again, I would ask everyone to applaud Nihal's efforts. I mean, really, it's incredible, very great. And all I would ask you is just continue to inspire every single student in this town. I mean, there are so many achievers we have in this district. So many students do such a good job. So please keep inspiring all your classmates, everyone in the school, and just keep doing the great job. Do not leave Edison until you graduate, please. We want talent like you to graduate from here.
4 more years, right? You're eighth graders right now?
He's eighth grader,
yeah,
right.
okay, 4 more years.
So 4 more years. So please stay here. Please do wonders for us, and do keep inspiring everyone. Once again, very good job.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
It's so sweet.
That's all, Board President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patel.
Nice.
Ms. Peng?
Oh, I just want to say congratulations, students, young kids, young heroes. I remember seeing you 3 years ago. You grew a lot since then.
I would just say that you're a little now. Yeah, you stand over there.
You're
like
big now.
so tall.
I still remember the photo of me, you, and Bernard Reagan.
Dr. Brigham, yes, I remember. That was a brilliant idea that you initiated. Yes, yeah, good job. I do have another issue about Dr. Riley. The board approved a policy a few years ago about absence policy. So we wanted to make a policy that all the schools, all the kids can take 3 single days over the year that as excused absence. If the kids are sick and the parents can send a note without having to go through the trouble of going to a doctor's office. Sometimes the parents know that it's probably a stomach flu or something, that kids needs a day's rest instead of going all the trouble going to a doctor's office, waiting in line, pay the copay and not even sure that sometimes they can't even get appointment. So we approve a policy that they can take 3 single days absence as excused. And I have heard multiple times actually, that a lot of schools are not really, applying this policy, and parents were very confused. And, this would help the parents a lot of times, without going through all the troubles, and they can take single days. So I just want to, maybe we can send a memo or something to the schools to make sure, to the principals, to the administrators, to make sure this policy is applied consistently across all the schools. So that would help the students and the parents a lot, especially in the winter season.
Sure.
Sometimes the kids just need 1 day rest.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Peng.
That's all.
Mr. Patel?
Thank you, Board President. First of all, congratulations on your award and achievement, and I want to also congratulate Edison High School football team as well for their achievement, and our bands as well, and all the students and all the teachers as well, right? This is a holiday season. I want to wish them a very good holiday as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other board member comment?
Pretty much, I'm just going to echo what everyone has said. We do have some talent here in Edison. I'm very proud of all the accomplishments our kids are doing and the adults that are servicing them. So, again, congratulations to my man. Yeah, I think you're going to do some good things in your future. And God bless.
President.
Dr. Haydock?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just quickly, Sunday is Hanukkah. It's the beginning of Hanukkah, so anybody celebrating in Edison, happy Hanukkah at sundown. And congratulations to our young hero, obviously. And also just remembering those staff members in the classroom that it's not the easiest time to teach. If you don't realize that with the holiday season upon us, these teachers stepping up, staying focused, staying healthy is a big job. It's a big task. So thank you for all you do every day, but especially during the holiday season. Stay healthy, everybody. I'm getting over the upper respiratory issues that I have, so my voice is rather losing it right now, so I'm going to end. But congratulations again to the focus of our district, our students.
Thank you. I just wanted to talk a little bit about transportation. I've asked Dr. Aldarelli and Mr. Toth to really focus hard and heavy on this the last couple of weeks. We have a challenge in our district, which is not unique to Edison. It's really happening in many places. But it's the simple job that we have to get kids to and from school. That's our priority. That's something that we, I think we all agree that is one of the bare bones necessities of what our responsibility is as a school district. Trying to get that done in the middle of the year when we're not doing a great job. We're doing a fine job with many kids, with many students, but we're not doing a great job with some of the students. And it needs to be a batting average of 100%. This is not something we can fall short of a bat in 1,000. So these two gentlemen here on the dais, plus the staff here at central office, have been working very hard to get this done. Simultaneously to that, they've developed some plans that I think we'll probably talk a little bit about in closed session tonight. And I've asked Dr. Aldarelli to brief us and the public on Tuesday about what the plans are and kind of what we have been doing and what we intend to do. It is not a quick fix, but I just want anyone watching. I know, Mr. Fagan, I see some emails from you at times. And the emails bother us. I don't say me, us. I mean, it's our job to get everyone to school safely, but also on time. You know, we can't be cutting into first period. And then somebody mentioned it before about the GPS and everything. I mean, we have students, forget standing at the bus stop by your house. We have children at the school waiting a long time after school. And then it's a snowball effect with the teachers and the staff and everybody else. And people have things to do. So anyway, I think everybody agrees that this needs to be not just triaged, but there needs to be a short and long-term solution. Why do I bring it up now? Because it's the bulk of our, the Yelp reviews, so to speak. Like if you were to say, how many stars are we getting as a district? Our negative reviews right now are plentiful with transportation. But I just want everybody to know that there's a concerted effort to actually move the ball forward and try to really make it better. It's not overnight, unfortunately, and I apologize to anybody that's on the receiving end of that poor service. So with that said, we'll talk more Tuesday about that, and I want to open it up to unless any other board members have a comment, I'll open it up to public comments. Mr. Romano.
Joseph Romano, Edison, New Jersey. With respect to the change order, does the district still have an engineering firm? And do they have an engineering firm that has its policy called errors and omissions?
From an insurance perspective, we have an E&O policy. We utilize the engineering firm. What's the name of the firm? USA Architects. So it's their subcontracted firm.
Why are we paying, the Township of Edison, why are we paying for them not doing their job? We agreed to a price. If they forgot, or they misled, or they're saying that we have to do something else, it's called errors and omissions. Does the errors and omission clause follow that, or we just keep spending money? Your silence is deadly.
Now, Mr. Romano, we'll definitely look into that piece. I would imagine that this change order was done in November?
Right,
During this time frame. So
Right, so the change order that is here before you, like I said, it makes up, it's one change order for multiple PCOs. It's A through H. Many of these go back to July 1 of 2022, some of these PCOs, or March of 16 of 2022. This predates my employment, so
I'm not complaining.
No.
All I'm saying is that the engineering study, the engineering people, USA Architects, not for nothing, they submitted a bid. If they made a mistake and there's other construction that has to be done, it's not on us. It's on the engineering company with their insurance company. It's on the USA Architects with their insurance company. If they like our business, they should fix it. If they're not going to fix it, this board, I'm sorry, the board that's in charge now should fix it. I don't know, 20 days, I'll fix it. I'm going to ask you all right now, when you vote on this, I would ask to table it until someone comes up with the idea on who's going to pay for it. I appreciate your time. Have a happy holiday and great job.
Thank you, Mr. Romano. What I would ask of you, Mr. Toth, speaking of that, is we were presented, USA Architects visited us in closed session and presented us with change orders. We discussed them thoroughly, but I want to confirm that it's different stuff than what we're looking at here. Because to my knowledge, that was about the electricity and the delay on the switch gears.
Yes.
And we had a temporary generator that cost us a fair amount of money, but that was due to supply chain issues with that switch gear. So assuming that this change order is different than what we've discussed, this information is new to the board. So I would just ask that we just dig deeper into that. And then we certainly don't need to vote on it on Tuesday. We can certainly table it if we need to dig deeper.
Sure.
Unless there's something I'm missing, I think that that's probably a smart thing to do. Any other comments on that? Okay, other public comments? Mr. Fagan?
Thank you, Board President. Nick Fagan, 42 Edgewood Road. I had two topics for tonight, Charlie Brown's and transportation. Thank you for your comments on transportation, and also thank you for your comments on the follow-up on the violence report and the things that have been done. I'm encouraged by what I heard. Thank you. And welcome, Dr. Aldarelli, to that side of the dais.
Thank you.
You've always been on this
Yes.
side of the dais, so we look
Participant,
forward to
yeah.
your leadership.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Following up on some of the zoning issues that are related to Board of Education, it's crazy that there's zoning issues related to you, but in the correspondence course that residents took in zoning in recent months, we learned that credentialed experts are really the only seriously considered folks that present at zoning board matters. This is due to something called the municipal land use law and our zoning board in Edison's, their clear and present bias for developers amongst the current makeup of that board. So the question for this board, related to this board, is, and I'll wait for an answer afterwards, but is the board considering bringing experts to oppose the 401 Division Street application or any other development in town that negatively impacts the schools? With a township zoning board that is biased to approve developers' oversized plans and the absence of a township public advocate, the strongest route I know of to protect our schools from overcrowding is to bring opposing expert testimony to the zoning board. Secondly, we also found out that letters and petitions are not accepted by the zoning board due to cross-examination rights enumerated in the municipal land use law. Has the board attorney received feedback from the zoning board council that they will accept the board's letter regarding 401 Division Street, or will the board president or board council have to be present to testify on behalf of the board regarding that matter or any other matter before the board that is near neighboring school property? Finally, regarding enforceability of deed restrictions for age-restricted housing stock, you'll know that this is related to Charlie Brown's. Thankfully, Edison Council has unanimously overturned the Edison Zoning Board approval for Charlie Brown's. However, the developer has chosen to sue the town for performance of the original approval. So therefore, I believe it's still important for the district to know and communicate clearly if deed restrictions will allow Edison School Administration to reject registrations from addresses with age-related deed restrictions. So my question is this: has the administration, board attorney, or any board subcommittee determined if deed restrictions will allow Edison School Administration to reject student registrations from age-restricted housing? The residents and parents look forward to the Boards of Education's continued support against overdevelopment in this town. Regarding transportation, I was really pleased this morning. The parents were elated. The app was working for the first time since for ML5, which is the route that my kid goes to. It was working for the first time since school started this morning. But then, and that's for the morning run, but this afternoon, there was no yellow arrow and there was no school bus this afternoon. So we're in a bit of a roller coaster, and it's ups and downs. I appreciate the help that Mr. Benedict has extended, and Dr. Aldarelli and Mr. Toth in getting this fixed. But if we're not getting what we need from Versatrans, we need to not pay them. It's been half a year here that we haven't gotten performance out of their app. And at least the parents of ML5, it's not just me, it's the whole route that it's not working. So I don't know, and I don't know if it's the transponder's not installed, if I'm being lied to, or if it's a software problem. So I just ask that you fix it so that we can follow it around, because the parents were absolutely elated when they saw the little yellow bus move around this morning, and it worked. It was fantastic. So please fix it. Please hire a new transportation supervisor. I heard that we lost our last one, so I think we're on our third or fourth transportation supervisor. So everything the board president said, and we need to get stability in transportation. It's a nationwide problem. If you listen to Marketplace and NPR, the story tonight was transportation and in school districts across the country and the instability. Where they came at the end of the article was, it erodes trust in the district when we can't do the basic things like get our kids to school and back and get the apps to work and stuff. And so that's the corrosive effect with parents, is if we can't get those basic things working, the trust just goes away. So I appreciate your help in getting that fixed. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
Board President?
Yes, Mr. Patel.
May I address some of the issues that he brought up in regards to the board doing something about the overcrowding? We tried doing something about the overcrowding. Jerry Shee, when he was the board president, he sued the township and Markham, the developer, for putting up housing there or wanting to put housing there. Our leadership board vice president took funding from that Markham, same group. And as part of your group of Charlie Brown Townhouse Authority, you were actually with her and everyone else involved in that. So if you're going to take and represent your views of what you want to do, and you're telling us to put ourselves accountable, you should also put yourself accountable for what you have done and who you side with. When you go to the council meetings, why don't you bring it up to them when they say that, you know what, this is the zoning issue or this is the planning issue, but you don't question them. Why? Because they're the ones who appoint those people on those zoning boards and the planning boards. Maybe it's a good thing that you go and ask them what will they do in regards to making sure that they're held accountable because they're appointing them. The mayor's appointing them. The council people are appointing them. And the same people that you are going around hobnobbing with, and then you come here and tell us what we're supposed to do. So first of all, we
Mr.
need to
Patel.
work that way.
Okay. I'll respond, Mr. Fagan, differently. No, politics aside, okay? Politics aside, they shouldn't be building large multi-unit developments contiguous to school property. That's common sense, that's not politics, that's reality. When you have hundreds of cars every day that try to pull up and pick up their kids and drop them off, we just had this whole conversation, I don't know, 45 minutes ago regarding Gloria Avenue. So now down the road, now we're having to negotiate with residents because the school, I think, the school, or the homes predate the school, right? Now we're talking about a situation where the school's there first. So if the school's there first, is it really smart to build a bunch of multi-unit homes? Now, as board president, and I don't want the answer now, I would want it later on. I don't know, as board president, if I could represent the board, I could say what I want to say without repercussions, ethics, whatever. But as a resident, as a taxpayer, as a parent, somebody that's trying to drop their kids off, I simply don't want a large multi-unit home housing next to the school that I'm trying to get to every day. I don't think it makes sense. That's a personal view. That's not a board view. That's not my official view as board president. That's me, Doug, saying it. So that has nothing to do with hobnobbing or politics or anything. It just makes sense. Anybody disagrees with me? I don't understand why. So I don't know what your original question was. I forgot. But you don't have to. I think it was like, are we going to do anything about it? Is that basically what you're asking? If on the record, we've discussed this in public before, we sent a letter. It was unanimously approved by this entire board saying that we're not happy with this. The reason we felt comfortable weighing in is because it was a contiguous property to a school. It literally touches the Thomas Jefferson property, that specific plot of land. I don't think it's appropriate. I don't know if it's appropriate's the right word. I don't know if it's legal for us to weigh in on every development that happens, in town. But certainly, it's our right when it's contiguous. I would even want to know if they filed a zoning application or planning board application, wouldn't they have to send a certified letter to the school announcing that?
If you're within the zone of the 200.
It literally touches. So it's not only 200 feet, but it touches. Have we ever seen that as a board? Probably not. I'm not aware of it. So all of the questions that you probably have as somebody that doesn't like development, I have the same questions. Any other board member comments about this? Other than I think we all agreed. We sent the letter, we read it out loud.
Yeah, so if you have a zoning board, and if you have you go to the court, and the Markham lawyer's response to overcrowding is putting a trailers, you go nowhere. Okay? You go look at the lawsuit, and that's the response. Go look it up. Trailers. All right? So we filed a lawsuit, and the whole board agreed on it. So that's a position of the board before. It's the position of the board. It's going to continue to be the position of the board. I can say, some board member might not agree, but majority of the board members will. But if you're taking bribes from developers and
I just want to be careful.
Mr.
Sheep, please.
Okay, so, let's call it what it is. So, it's something that the township needs to do something. But I'd like our attorney to answer that question. If it's age-restricted housing, can we reject the student enrollment? That's one of the questions. Yeah.
Well, first I heard that question. The answer I can give you off the top of my head is that, generally speaking, and this applies to, generally speaking, children who actually live here, regardless of their legal status, including, believe it or not, people who are completely undocumented who are here, any child who's actually residing here, whether they should be or shouldn't be, generally speaking, is allowed to enroll in the schools. Don't shoot the messenger, but that's from our holdings of our U.S. Supreme Court. That's why if you look at the regulations on enrollment and who's allowed to enroll here, it says things specifically like we must disregard immigration status, we must disregard whether they're living in a illegal two-family. That's for other agencies of government to deal with, but so long as they're here, it's our obligation to educate them. So I haven't, this is the first time hearing a question about how it applies to an age-restricted community, but consistent with the general theme I've said, my assumption would be that if those children are actually residing here with a parent or legal guardian, they're entitled to go here until somebody decides they shouldn't be living here.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah. If you do go to the next board, their meetings in the council, ask them, stop taking money from the developers and look out for the students first.
Okay. Any other public comments? You have like 20 seconds. Make it quick. Thank you, Mr. Fagan.
So my rebuttal is I still didn't get an answer on, I got the answer on 401 Division Street, you're going to send somebody, but I didn't get an answer from Mr. Rubin on if the zoning board council will allow that, your letter. I don't believe it's allowed per their policies and procedures and how they've dealt with us in the past. So you're going to have to send somebody, is my point. You're going to have to send somebody because they have a right of cross-examination. They, the applicant, has a right of cross-examination of anybody who testifies at those meetings per MLUL.
Thank you, Mr. Fagan. I don't know if you have an answer for that.
Well, I think if it's a matter of what the board's legal strategy is to deal with any legal problem, that's something we discuss back there, not out here, if you're discussing it with me.
Fair enough. Thank you. Excellent response. Thank you. All right. Any other public comment? Okay. Motion to end public comment.
Motion?
Mr. Shi motion. Second, Mr. Patel. All in favor? Aye. Mr. Toth, can you read our resolution to go to privilege session? We will be adjourning from privilege session tonight, so you do not have to wait out here and wait for anything exciting. Mr. Toth.
Yes. Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, permits the exclusion of public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Township of Edison, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, as follows. The public shall be excluded from the discussion of and action upon hereinafter specified subject matters. That general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows. Attorney-client privilege, discussion regarding student matters, health insurance coverage, litigation, ETA grievances, PERC unfair labor practices, personnel matters. It is anticipated at this time that the above stated subject matter shall be made public at such time as the need for non-disclosure no longer exists. This resolution takes effect immediately.
Thank you, Mr. Toth. We're now adjourned to privilege session. Have a great night, everyone.
You need a quote. You need a vote.
Oh, motion to adjourn to privilege session.
Motion.
Mr. Mohan Patel motion, second, Mr. Shi, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.